Have you ever felt like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Like your past, your worries, your regrets are all chaining you down? You're not alone. In a world that never stops, we rarely pause to ask, what if the peace we're chasing isn't in holding on, but in letting go? This isn't just a book. It's your invitation to release what no longer serves you and finally breathe free. Welcome to the art of letting go. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The heavy weight of overthinking. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet lake. The surface is calm, smooth like glass. But then, you throw in a pebble, a thought. Ripples spread. Then another pebble, and another. Soon, the lake isn't calm anymore. It's chaotic. That's what overthinking feels like. Overthinking isn't simply thinking too much. It's analyzing, replaying, predicting, doubting, and rehearsing things that may never happen. It's the endless loop in your mind that steals peace, paralyzes action, and drains energy. And yet, most of us live with it daily, believing it's part of being responsible, smart, or prepared. But here's the truth. Overthinking is a habit, not a personality trait, and habits can be broken. The illusion of control. One of the core reasons we overthink is the belief that if we analyze something enough, we can control the outcome. We want to avoid mistakes, pain, and regret. We want to be ready for everything. But life doesn't reward over-preparedness. It rewards presence. Overthinking gives us a false sense of control, but in reality, it removes our ability to respond with clarity. Instead of solving problems, we create new ones in our minds. Instead of protecting ourselves, we imprison ourselves in fear and doubt. Why the mind spirals? Our brains are designed for survival, not happiness. That means it constantly scans for threats, real or imagined. This is called the negativity bias. It's why you can get 10 compliments and still obsess over the one criticism. It's why your brain replays that awkward conversation from last week. Overthinking is the modern brain's way of trying to stay safe. But today, most of our threats are emotional, not physical. Rejection, embarrassment, failure. And the brain doesn't know the difference. It responds the same way it would to danger in the wild, by getting stuck in loops. What letting go really means. Letting go isn't about forgetting. It's not about pretending things didn't happen. It's about choosing peace over chaos. It's choosing to loosen your grip on what you can't control, other people, the past, the future, and redirect your focus to the only thing you do control, your response. Letting go is a skill, and like any skill, it gets easier with practice. A moment of awareness. Take a moment right now. Breathe in deeply. Hold it. Now exhale slowly. Notice your thoughts. Don't fight them. Don't label them. Just observe. This is the first step in letting go. Awareness. When you become aware that your mind is spiraling, you create space between you and your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer. Real-life example. Sarah's loop. Sarah was a marketing manager who constantly replayed her mistakes. A typo in an email would haunt her for days. She'd think, what will my boss think? Did I ruin the campaign? Will I lose my job? Her anxiety skyrocketed. She started journaling, a simple 5-minute habit each night. She wrote her worries down, and after a while, noticed a pattern. Her fears rarely came true. She began using a phrase. That's just a thought, not a fact. That sentence gave her freedom. Slowly, she learned to release what wasn't in her control. Her confidence grew, not because her world changed, but because her mind did. Practical takeaway, the thought dump. Try this every morning or night. Grab a notebook. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Write every single thought racing in your head without editing. Close the notebook. This is not for solving problems. This is for clearing mental space, like closing background apps on your phone. A new way forward. You don't have to be at the mercy of your thoughts. You don't have to overanalyze every moment. You don't have to live in mental traffic. Letting go is choosing clarity over clutter, peace over panic. It starts with one breath, one pause, one choice. This is the art of letting go. Chapter 2. The silent saboteur. Self-talk and the inner critic. You talk to yourself more than anyone else in the world. But here's the question. What kind of conversations are you having with yourself? Most of us walk around with an invisible voice in our heads, an inner critic. It whispers judgments, replays mistakes, and questions every decision. It tells you that you're not good enough, not smart enough, not ready. It sabotages your peace before the world even gets the chance. Letting go means learning to tame that voice. The power of self-talk. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you repeatedly tell yourself you're failing, unlovable, or not capable, your brain begins to believe it. That belief turns into hesitation, then inaction, and soon, regret. But the same mechanism can be used in your favor. Positive self-talk isn't cheesy affirmation. It's brain training. It's rewiring. It's choosing new words to create new patterns. From judgment to curiosity. Overthinking often sounds like this. Why did I say that? I sounded so stupid. I'll never get this right. I mess everything up. What if I fail again? But what if you flipped those statements into questions? What can I learn from that conversation? What did I do right today? What's the best that could happen? Curiosity is the antidote to judgment. When you ask questions with compassion instead of blame, your brain looks for solutions, not shame. Real-life example. Mark's inner war. Mark was an engineer who constantly doubted himself. He'd rewrite emails 3 times before sending them. At meetings, he stayed quiet, afraid of sounding dumb. One day, his therapist gave him a simple tool, a rubber band around his wrist. Every time he caught himself thinking negatively, he snapped it gently and replaced the thought with something empowering. It wasn't magic, but slowly it worked. I'm not ready became, I'm learning. I messed up became, I gave it my best today. Within months, Mark started speaking up. He even pitched a new idea that got approved company-wide. The voice in your head matters. Make it your friend, not your enemy. Practical technique, name the critic. Give your inner critic a name. Call it Doubtful Dan or Anxious Annie. This separates the voice from you. When it starts spiraling, say, "Oh, Dan's talking again." This small shift disarms its power. It's not you who's broken. It's just a thought pattern, and patterns can be changed. Creating a compassionate mindset. Try this daily. Before bed, write down 3 things you did well. When a negative thought arises, ask, would I say this to a friend? Replace harshness with kindness, not false praise, but gentle truth. Example, instead of "I'm so lazy," say, "Today was tough, but I showed up the best I could." Letting go of perfection. So much self-talk is rooted in perfectionism, the belief that unless it's flawless, it's worthless. But perfection isn't the goal. Progress is. Letting go means embracing the messy, awkward, honest parts of growth. It means understanding that mistakes aren't proof of failure. They're proof of effort. Your inner voice should sound like a coach, not a critic. Final thought. You are listening. Your brain hears every word you say about yourself. So speak gently. Speak kindly. Speak like you matter, because you do. The art of letting go isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you otherwise. And it starts by changing the conversation inside your mind. Chapter 3. Emotional baggage. Why we carry what no longer serves us. Imagine walking through life with a backpack. At first, it's light. But every time you're hurt, disappointed, rejected, or betrayed, a brick is added. Slowly, your back bends. Your energy fades. Your joy becomes heavy. That backpack is your emotional baggage. And unless you learn to unpack it, it will weigh you down for years, sometimes for life. What is emotional baggage? Emotional baggage is the collection of unresolved feelings from your past. Grief, guilt, shame, anger, heartbreak that you carry into your present. It affects how you see yourself, how you react to others, and how you approach relationships and decisions. The problem? Most of us carry this baggage unconsciously. We normalize it. We bury it. We wear it like armor, believing it protects us, when in truth, it traps us. Letting go means daring to unzip that backpack and take a hard, honest look inside. Why we hold on? We don't hold on because we enjoy the pain. We hold on because we're afraid. Afraid of forgetting. Afraid of being vulnerable again. Afraid that if we release the past, we'll lose a piece of who we are. Sometimes the pain becomes part of our identity. I was the one they abandoned. I'm the one who always gets hurt. But you are not your past. You are not your scars. You are the one who survived them. Real life example. Lena's heartbreak. Lena had been cheated on in her first serious relationship. It shattered her trust. Years later, even with a loving new partner, she couldn't shake the fear. Every time he was 5 minutes late, her mind spiraled. What if he's lying? What if he's like the last one? She finally admitted to herself, I'm still carrying the pain of someone who isn't even in my life anymore. That realization changed everything. With therapy, journaling, and self-compassion, she began to let go, not of the memory, but of the meaning she attached to it. She didn't erase the past. She just stopped letting it define her future. Emotions are messengers. Your emotions don't come to punish you. They come to teach you. Grief tells you what mattered. Anger shows where your boundaries were crossed. Shame reveals where healing is needed. But once the message is received, the emotion can be released. You don't need to keep rereading the same painful chapter. The cost of holding on. Unprocessed emotions show up in strange ways. Overreacting to small things. Constant tension in the body. Distrust in relationships. Trouble sleeping. Anxiety that seems to come from nowhere. These are signals from your mind and body. It's time to let go. Practical tool, the emotional inventory. Set aside 15 minutes. Sit in a quiet space. Ask yourself, what pain am I still carrying? Whose voice still lives in my head? What moment from the past still stings when I think about it? Write freely. Don't filter. Don't judge. Then ask, what do I need to say that I never said? You may need to write a letter you'll never send, or say aloud what you've held in for years. This is emotional decluttering. You can't heal what you won't face. Release doesn't mean reconciliation. Letting go doesn't always mean making peace with the person who hurt you. It means making peace with the memory. It means choosing not to give them real estate in your heart anymore. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. It's saying, I'm done carrying the weight of what you did. Final reflection. Empty your backpack. You get one life. Don't carry more than you need. Release the resentment. Let go of guilt. Say goodbye to the narratives that no longer serve you. You deserve to walk freely, lightly, boldly into your future. And it all begins with this quiet, powerful decision. I don't need to carry this anymore. That is the art of letting go. Chapter 4. Breaking the loop. How to stop overthinking everything. You've replayed that conversation 10 times in your head. You've imagined every worst-case scenario before even taking the first step. You've asked, what if? So often that it feels like a chant. This is the trap of overthinking. Overthinking is a silent thief. It steals your peace, your sleep, your confidence, and eventually, your joy. It convinces you that thinking more will give you control, when in reality, it only creates more chaos. Letting go means breaking free from the endless loop of rumination and learning to live in the present moment. The illusion of control. Overthinking gives you the illusion that if you analyze something enough, you'll prevent pain or failure. But life doesn't work like that. No amount of thinking can guarantee certainty. Sometimes you just have to act. Imagine standing at the edge of a pool, thinking about how cold the water is, calculating the best angle to jump in, and worrying about whether it's deep enough. Eventually, you realize the only way to truly know is to jump. Why we overthink? It often stems from fear. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of rejection. Fear of regret. Fear of not being perfect. But behind all of that is the deeper fear, not being enough. Overthinking is our mind's way of trying to protect us, but protection turns into paralysis. And that's when we get stuck. Real life example, Dev's dilemma. Dev had a great business idea. He talked about it constantly, researched for months, created 10 different drafts of his plan. But he never launched. When asked why, he said, "What if people don't like it? What if I fail publicly?" His friend replied, "Dev, you're failing privately every day by doing nothing." That hit hard. And it was true. Dev didn't need another thought. He needed motion. How to break the overthinking cycle. Set a decision deadline. Give yourself a time limit. Example, I will decide by 6 p.m. today. Overthinking thrives on open-ended decisions. Create structure. Limit information intake. Stop reading 100 reviews. Stop polling 10 friends. More input doesn't always mean better output. It just fuels analysis paralysis. Take imperfect action. Don't wait to be ready. You won't feel ready. Send the email, make the call, publish the post, apply for the job. Progress begins where perfection ends. Ground yourself in the present. Overthinking lives in the past and future. The cure is now. Try this. Look around. Name 3 things you see, 2 you hear, 1 you feel. This simple grounding technique pulls your mind back from the spiral. Mantra for the overthinker. Say this aloud, or in your head, when the loop begins. Not everything needs a perfect answer. I trust myself to handle whatever comes. Because that's the truth. You've survived 100% of your worst days. You'll survive what's ahead too. The cost of waiting. While you're busy overthinking, someone else is out there taking action. They're not smarter. They're not more prepared. They're just moving. And momentum creates confidence. The truth is, clarity comes after action, not before. Final reflection. Think less, live more. Overthinking is like rocking in a chair. It gives you something to do, but gets you nowhere. Letting go means releasing the need to control every outcome and learning to trust your gut, your strength, your journey. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next right step. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop thinking and start living. Chapter 5. Letting go of people. When it's time to stop holding on, some people come into your life as blessings. Others come as lessons. And some overstay their chapter in your story. Letting go of people is one of the hardest parts of life. But it's also one of the most necessary acts of self-respect. We often cling to relationships, not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. We remember how things used to be and convince ourselves they'll go back to that someday. But deep down, we know the version of that person we loved no longer exists. The truth about outgrowing people: not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level of your life. Sometimes you outgrow a friendship. Sometimes a romantic connection fades. Sometimes family becomes a boundary you have to enforce for your own peace. And that's okay. Growth means change, and change sometimes means separation. Why letting go is so hard? It's not just the person we struggle to release. It's the dreams we built with them. The memories, the time invested, the identity we shaped around the relationship. Letting go can feel like failure, like giving up, like betrayal. But in reality, it's freedom. Freedom from trying to fix what's not yours to fix. Freedom from waiting for someone to change. Freedom from begging for the bare minimum. Real-life example: Amara's friendship. Amara had been best friends with Nina for over a decade. They did everything together. But as time passed, Nina became passive-aggressive, competitive, and emotionally distant. Amara kept excusing it. She's going through a lot. But one day she asked herself, if I met her today, would I want her in my life? The answer was no. That clarity hurt, but it was honest. Amara didn't confront Nina in anger. She simply stopped forcing the connection. She let the silence speak, and eventually peace followed. Signs it's time to let go. You feel drained after every interaction. You're walking on eggshells. You're always the one reaching out. You've communicated your needs, but nothing changes. You feel guilty for growing. If you're constantly questioning whether this person is good for you, it's usually a sign they're not. Letting go doesn't mean hatred. You can release someone and still wish them well. You can walk away without needing revenge or drama. You can love someone and still choose yourself. That's called emotional maturity, and it's powerful. Practical tool: the goodbye letter. You may never get closure from the person you're letting go, so give it to yourself. Write a letter you never send. Start with, "Thank you for the good. I've learned from the pain, but it's time for me to move on." Say what you never got to say. Cry if you must, then delete it, burn it, or bury it. This is symbolic. It tells your brain, I release this. The fear of being alone. Many people stay in unhealthy relationships because they fear loneliness. But here's the truth. Being alone and being lonely are not the same. Sometimes the loneliest place is in the wrong company. Letting go of the wrong people creates space for the right ones. People who see you, hear you, choose you. People who don't drain you, but light you up. Final reflection: honor the ending. Every ending is a beginning in disguise. Don't resist what's falling apart. Don't chase what's choosing to leave. Let it go. Let them go. Let yourself go into the freedom you've been denying. Because the right people don't require you to shrink. They grow with you. Let go, so you can rise. Chapter 6. The weight we carry: releasing guilt and shame. Guilt whispers, you should have done more. Shame screams, you were never enough. Together they become heavy bags we carry through life. Bags packed with regret, self-blame, and the belief that we're somehow broken. But here's the truth. You are not your past. You are not your worst moment. You are not the story your guilt keeps repeating. Letting go of guilt and shame isn't about forgetting. It's about forgiving, especially yourself. Understanding the difference. Guilt says, I did something bad. Shame says, I am bad. One is about action, the other is about identity. Guilt can be helpful when it leads to growth, but shame traps you. It convinces you that you are unworthy of love, joy, or redemption. And that's a lie. Where it begins. Guilt and shame often start in childhood. A parent blames you unfairly. A teacher humiliates you. You make a mistake and no one helps you process it. So you internalize the pain. You start to believe, something is wrong with me. And that belief follows you like a shadow, even when you're doing your best. Real life example. Priya's regret. Priya walked away from a relationship that no longer felt right. Years later, she still questioned her choice. What if I hurt him too much? Did I give up too soon? She held on to guilt for choosing herself, until a therapist told her, Guilt isn't always truth. Sometimes it's just conditioning. That changed everything. Priya realized she wasn't selfish. She was brave. Brave enough to walk away instead of pretending everything was fine. How to release guilt and shame. Acknowledge the feeling without judgment. Say, I feel guilty, not, I am guilty. Create distance between who you are and what you feel. Ask, is this mine to carry? Some guilt isn't even yours. It was projected onto you. Ask, did I truly do something wrong? Or was I made to feel responsible for someone else's emotions? Make amends, if needed. If your actions hurt someone, apologize. But don't over-apologize. Own your part, not more. Then forgive yourself, fully, repeatedly if necessary. Challenge shame-based thoughts. When your inner voice says, I'm not enough, respond with truth. I'm human. I made mistakes, and I'm still worthy of love and peace. Write a release statement. On paper, write, I forgive myself for holding on to guilt that no longer serves me. I release the belief that I must suffer to be a good person. Then tear it up, burn it, or throw it away. Let that moment mark your freedom. Mantra for the healing heart. Say this when guilt or shame surfaces. I am allowed to grow beyond my past. I am not who I was. I am who I choose to become. You don't have to earn forgiveness. You're not here to punish yourself forever. You're here to learn, to love, and to evolve. Forgiveness isn't letting yourself off the hook. It's freeing yourself from a prison you were never meant to stay in. Final reflection. Lay down the weight. Imagine walking through life with a heavy backpack. Guilt and shame are the bricks inside. Now, imagine setting that backpack down. How would that feel? Lighter? Freer? More alive? That feeling is possible. But only when you stop punishing yourself for being human. Let go of guilt. Release the shame. Choose compassion. Choose healing. Because the person you're becoming deserves a chance to breathe. Chapter 7. The Fear of Change. Embracing the unknown. Change is terrifying. It shakes the very foundation of what we know. It forces us to step into the unknown, where comfort and certainty no longer exist. But here's the paradox. The only way to truly grow is through change. And the only thing that can prevent that growth is fear. The fear of change keeps us stuck in familiar patterns, even when those patterns no longer serve us. But what if, instead of fearing change, we welcomed it? What if we saw the unknown not as a threat, but as a possibility? Why we resist change? We resist change for one simple reason. It feels unsafe. The human brain is wired for survival, and in the past, unfamiliar territory meant danger. But today the danger is often not physical, it's emotional. What if we fail? What if we're judged? What if we make a mistake? These are the questions that arise when we face the unknown. But asking them is part of the process. It's normal to feel fear when stepping into uncharted waters. Real-life example. Theo's career shift. Theo had been in the same job for years. He was good at it, but deep down, he knew it wasn't his passion. He dreamed of starting his own business, but every time he thought about taking that leap, fear gripped him. What if I fail? He thought. What if I can't make it work? But then, one day, Theo realized, I'm already failing by not trying. He took the leap. It wasn't smooth sailing at first, but every setback taught him more than staying in his comfort zone ever could. And the fear? It became the fuel for his growth. The power of embracing the unknown. Redefine change. Instead of seeing change as a threat, try seeing it as an opportunity. Ask, what could be waiting for me on the other side of this change? Shift from fear to curiosity. Change often brings fear because we focus on worst-case scenarios. Shift your perspective. Ask, what can I learn from this experience? Curiosity opens the door to new possibilities. Start small. Change doesn't have to be a massive, overwhelming leap. Take one small step outside your comfort zone. Each tiny act of bravery builds your confidence and shifts your mindset. Trust the process. Change takes time. You won't have all the answers right away. Trust that, as you move forward, the path will unfold. And if it doesn't look like you imagined, that's okay. Sometimes the detours lead to the best destinations. Mantra for embracing change. When fear of change rises, repeat this. I am capable of navigating the unknown. I trust in my ability to handle whatever comes. Every step forward is progress. The growth you're meant for. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff. The wind is strong, and the fall looks daunting. But just below, the ground is soft and welcoming. Taking the leap feels terrifying. But the moment you jump, you realize that you were never meant to stay on the edge. You were meant to fly. Change is not something you should fear. It is something you should welcome. Final reflection. The courage to evolve. Evolution requires change. To evolve, you must embrace it, step into it, and trust the unfolding process. The unknown doesn't have to be scary. It's just new. And within the new lies the potential to become the version of yourself you've always dreamed of. So let go of the fear. Step forward into the unknown. Because that's where your growth, your true self, and your best life await. Chapter 8. The power of now living in the present moment. We spend so much of our time thinking about the past or worrying about the future that we forget to live in the only moment we truly have, the present. The past is gone. The future hasn't arrived. All we really have is now. Yet, most of us are addicted to the stories of the past or the anxiety of the future. We chase what's already over, or we fear what's yet to come. But true peace, true freedom, is found in the present moment. Why we avoid the present. The present moment can feel uncomfortable because it forces us to face the truth about where we are. When we focus on the present, we stop hiding behind distractions, worries, or regrets. And that can feel vulnerable. So, we distract ourselves with endless thoughts of what's next, or replay the stories of our past. But the present is where life is truly happening. Real life example. Zoe's struggle with anxiety. Zoe was constantly worried about the future. What would happen with her career? Would she ever find true happiness? What if she failed? Then, one day, Zoe realized she wasn't living her life. She was living in her head. Through meditation, Zoe started practicing mindfulness. She learned to bring her attention to the present moment. The sounds around her. The way the sun felt on her skin. The simple joy of breathing. It wasn't easy at first, but over time, Zoe learned to embrace the present, moment by moment. And the more she practiced, the more peace she found. How to let go of the past and future. Focus on your breath. Breathing is always happening now. Take a few deep breaths and feel the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. When you focus on your breath, you anchor yourself to the present. Be present with what's around you. When you feel your mind drifting to the past or future, stop and observe your surroundings. What do you see, hear, smell, or feel right now? Engage all your senses to bring yourself back to this moment. Practice gratitude. Gratitude forces you to notice the good in the present. What are you thankful for right now? By focusing on the positive, you shift your mind away from fear and regret. Let go of the need for control. The future can seem overwhelming because we think we must control it. But life is unpredictable. Trust that things will unfold as they should, without your constant worry. Be gentle with yourself. Letting go of the past doesn't mean denying it. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and then choose to move forward. Don't be hard on yourself for not living in the present. You're human. Start where you are, and each time your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Mantra for living in the now. When you catch yourself in the grip of the past or future, say this. This moment is all I have. I am here now. And this moment is enough. The freedom of now. Living in the present is the key to true freedom. It's the key to peace. It's the key to joy. When you let go of the need to control the future or replay the past, you open yourself up to the richness of now. This moment, right here, holds everything you need. It's where life happens, where you can create, heal, and grow. Final reflection. The present is your gift. Imagine sitting quietly, fully present, with no worries about what's next or what's behind you. In that space, you are free. In that space, you can breathe. In that space, you can let go. The present is not just a moment in time, it is your moment. And it is a gift waiting to be unwrapped. So embrace it, live it, let go of everything that isn't here. Because now is all you truly need. Chapter 9. Embracing imperfection. The freedom of being enough. Perfectionism is a prison. It locks us in a never-ending cycle of trying to be better, smarter, more successful, as if who we are right now is not enough. But the truth is, imperfection is the very essence of life. It is what makes us human, real, and beautiful. Embracing imperfection isn't about lowering your standards. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of always needing to be perfect. It's about accepting that you are already enough, just as you are. Why we strive for perfection. Perfectionism often comes from a deep-seated fear. The fear that if we aren't perfect, we won't be loved, accepted, or valued. It stems from the belief that if we make a mistake or fall short of an impossible standard, we'll be seen as unworthy. But the truth is, no one is perfect. And that's what makes us relatable. That's what makes us human. Real life example. Sam's fear of failure. Sam spent years chasing perfection. In his career, in his relationships, even in his appearance, everything had to be flawless. But despite his achievements, he never felt truly successful. He always felt like he was missing something. It wasn't until Sam had a conversation with his mentor that things began to shift. His mentor said, "Perfection doesn't exist. What matters is your progress, your willingness to show up and be real." That was the moment Sam realized. Perfection wasn't the goal, being himself was. The freedom of letting go of perfection. Accept your flaws as part of you. The things you dislike about yourself are the very things that make you unique. Embrace them. Recognize that your imperfections are yours, and they are what make you real. Stop comparing yourself to others. The highlight reel of other people's lives doesn't reflect their struggles, their flaws, or their imperfections. Focus on your own journey. Your path is uniquely yours, and there's no need to measure it against anyone else's. Give yourself permission to fail. Failure isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of growth. Every time you fail, you gain wisdom, resilience, and experience. So, let go of the fear of making mistakes and see each one as a stepping stone to success. Celebrate small wins. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or outcome, celebrate progress. Each step forward, no matter how small, is an achievement worth acknowledging. Shift your perspective on success. Success isn't about being perfect, it's about being authentic. It's about showing up, doing your best, and finding joy in the process, rather than fixating on the end result. Mantra for embracing imperfection. When perfectionism creeps in, repeat this. I am enough just as I am. My imperfections make me whole. I release the need for perfection and embrace progress. The joy of being real. Living authentically, free from the pressure of perfection, is where true joy lies. You don't need to earn your worth. You already possess it, right now, in your perfectly imperfect self. When you embrace who you truly are, flaws and all, you unlock the freedom to live fully, unapologetically, and with deep fulfillment. Final reflection. Imperfection is your power. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, looking at yourself without judgment. All of your flaws are simply pieces of your unique story. They are not weaknesses, they are strengths. You are enough just as you are. Your imperfections are not something to hide, but something to celebrate. Because it is in your imperfections that your true beauty shines. So let go of perfection. Let go of the need to be flawless. And embrace the beauty of being you, perfectly imperfect and always enough. Chapter 10. The Power of Forgiveness. Letting go of the past. Forgiveness is not just for others, it's for you. It's the key that unlocks the chains holding you to your past, to your pain, and to the people who have wronged you. When we hold on to grudges, we carry them like invisible weight. The longer we hold on to resentment, the heavier it becomes. But forgiveness is the process of lightening that load. It's not about excusing the actions of others. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional prison of anger and hurt. Why we struggle to forgive. Forgiveness can feel impossible. It feels like we're letting the person who wronged us off the hook, as if they don't deserve forgiveness. But the truth is, forgiveness is not about them. It's about your own peace. When you forgive, you're choosing to release the power that the past holds over you. You're choosing freedom, peace, and emotional clarity. Real life example. Rachel's journey of forgiveness. Rachel was betrayed by a close friend, someone she trusted with her deepest secrets. The betrayal left a scar, and for years, Rachel carried anger and resentment, believing that holding on to the hurt was her way of punishing the person who had wronged her. But one day, Rachel realized, I'm not hurting them, I'm hurting myself. So she decided to forgive, not because the betrayal was okay, but because she didn't want to keep letting it control her. The moment Rachel forgave, she felt lighter. The weight that had held her back for years began to lift. Forgiveness didn't change the past, but it transformed her future. The healing power of letting go. Forgive for your own peace. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about you. When you forgive, you're choosing to let go of the emotional burden and claim your peace back. Release the need for revenge. Holding on to anger in the hope of revenge only keeps you tied to the past. Instead, let go of the desire for payback and trust that time and life will bring balance. Understand the power of compassion. Everyone makes mistakes. The person who hurt you is also human and flawed. Compassion allows you to see beyond their actions and recognize their own struggles. Heal yourself first. Forgiveness is not just about releasing the other person. It's about your own emotional healing. By forgiving, you take back control of your emotions and your well-being. Choose to move forward. Letting go of past hurt allows you to create new memories and experiences. You free yourself to grow, evolve, and build a future that isn't defined by past wounds. Mantra for forgiveness. When you find yourself holding on to hurt, repeat this. I release the past and choose peace. I forgive, not because they deserve it, but because I deserve to be free. The freedom in forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone the wrong that was done. It means you are no longer willing to let it define you or control your life. It's about choosing to heal, move on, and let go. When you forgive, you free yourself. You stop giving away your power to those who have hurt you, and you reclaim your peace. Final reflection, the power you hold. Imagine standing tall, free from the weight of past grudges, resentment, and anger. In your heart, there's only peace and lightness. You've forgiven, you've let go. Now you are free to live fully, to love deeply, and to grow without the heavy burden of the past. Forgiveness is not just a gift to others, it is a gift to yourself. And in letting go of the past, you create space for the life you truly deserve. Chapter 11. Letting go of control. Embracing the flow of life. Control is an illusion. We like to believe that if we have control over our circumstances, we can avoid pain, failure, and uncertainty. We think that by holding tightly to the reins of our lives, we can create the outcomes we want. But life doesn't work that way. The more we try to control things, the more we end up fighting against the flow of life. Letting go of control is about surrendering to the present moment and trusting that life will unfold as it's meant to. Trying to control every aspect of our lives creates stress and anxiety. We become consumed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of things not turning out the way we want them to. But the truth is, life is unpredictable, and no amount of control can change that. The key to peace is learning to let go and flow with life instead of resisting it. Sarah had always been a control freak. From planning every detail of her day to micromanaging her relationships, she believed that if she just controlled everything, life would be easier. But it wasn't. The more Sarah tried to control, the more she felt trapped in her own life. One day, a close friend told her, "Sarah, you can't control everything, but you can control how you respond to what life throws at you." That was the turning point for Sarah. She started to embrace uncertainty, to trust the process, and to let go of the need to control everything. Slowly, Sarah learned that the more she let go,